Good morning and welcome back to The Morning Magazine, presented by Comfort Air Heating, Cooling, Plumbing. It's time for part 2.
Welcome back, everyone, to Morning Magazine, Part 2 for this January 20th, 2021. You have your host, James J. Malouf here, 10:34 on the clock. And, of course, we have our friends from Wisconsin Rapids Community Media sticking around. Appreciate that. Good to see you, Kev, doing a little overtime here. We appreciate that. And really appreciate two of our favorite guests joining us today. We get to talk history. I'm looking forward to this, gentlemen. We have Larry Knutson in with us. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning.
And we have Mike Hittner with us. Mike, good to see you.
Yes, good morning, James, and everybody in radio and TV land.
Before we get to talking about the historic Point Basse and get an update from that, first just wanted to catch up with both of you, find out how you and yours are doing. Larry, how's everybody holding up?
Very well. A little bored, like many people, I think, but other than that, surviving, eating way too much and not getting enough exercise.
I feel like you just answered for all of us. I think all of us could say something very similar to that. Mike, how's everybody holding up?
Same here for me, too. Thank you for
Good.
asking.
Very good. So let's dive right into it. What is going on over this historic Point Basse? What can you tell us?
Well, let's maybe, James, review a little bit last year because it was another different year for us. We had the ice cutting and we had the winter feast last year. We didn't have the festival. We had Whodunit in July, and then we had the fall harvest fair. But the rest of the year was pretty much called off. Now, we look at both numbers. We talk to the Wood County Health Department. We also see how many of our citizens we have available. Unfortunately, our citizens tend to be 60 plus age, most of them. There's a few younger ones, but so it's a little harder for us to raise a crew. And but last year we did a lot of work because Larry and I, and amongst 4 or 5 other people, are on a Monday morning work crew. We work Mondays and we work other days too, and we got a lot accomplished because we weren't doing the other stuff. So just to run through a little bit of what we accomplished last year. We had taken a lot of trees down, and some trees were donated, and so we had a portable sawmill come in from Pittsville, and he cut up a bunch of timbers for us because we hope to do a shelter house, and we've got most of the wood for that now, so that's beautiful. We build vehicle access to the back of the schoolhouse. Before it was just walking there if we had to load up a bunch of things from the kitchen area downstairs or whatever to take it somewhere. Now we got vehicular access to it, which makes it much handier. We removed the old roofing off of the cabin. Tom and Joe spend most of their time there, our citizens, and put a new roof on there, and that was a major undertaking and took us, Don told me the other day, I think 5 weeks. I think, Larry, I was kind of surprised. I was thinking 3 weeks, but I think from start to finish about 5 weeks. And we put graded the dirt floor in the blacksmith shop and put a new wood floor in there because it's a little easier on their legs and knees and everything to work on a wood floor. And so that was wood that we had cut in the winter time, and so that all that wood was available to us, which was oak we put in there, and that was all available to us. And new schoolhouse door. The old schoolhouse door was having some issues. Put a brand new door on there. And then we maintain the nature trails. We have extensive nature trails, and we'd like to recommend anybody that'd like to do a little cross-country skiing or snowshoeing, come on down. We've got several miles of trail, and during the year we bark it, and so it's nice and wide. It's about 6 feet wide, and it's barked and everything, so it's very comfortable to walk on and very secure. And then we cut trees in the area on the end of Wakely Road. We put a cul-de-sac in with the town of Saratoga. We did that so that we can get our buses instead of parking in our parking lot. And then the kids come with the school groups, and then they have to drop their lunches off and then carry them all the way across. Now we got an access where they can have a turnaround down there at the end of Wakely Road. And also with the town of Saratoga, we put a blue landing in. For those in our audience that don't know what a blue landing is, it's for like canoes and kayaks and that sort of thing. And so we have blue landing access. Also, that cul-de-sac is for dropping off their canoes or kayaks and then getting their cars moved out of that area sort of thing. So it was a very busy year for us working-wise. Got a lot done, probably half again or twice as much as we normally do just because we weren't having all these events that we normally did. We did, like I say, like 4 events out of about 9 events, so we did about approximately half.
Kev, how impressive is this? Man, I'm blown away. Honestly, I know you guys are busy over there, and I know you keep busy. What a smart and constructive use of the time. And I can't help but take that. I hope that other people feel inspired by that too, because that's how I felt listening to you.
Yeah. And I only gave you the checked part on my list, which is half of the list.
I was going to say,
I didn't want to talk about every small little thing we did, but I think for us that are on the Monday crew, it was a way for us to still be down there. It was nice because for COVID reasons, we're outside, we're separated a lot. As far as Larry and I are right now, like 4 or 5 feet or 6 feet, we're working outside and everybody's in different directions. So it works really well. And it was safe for everybody and everybody had a good time. And actually, we really enjoy working. Our Monday crew really enjoys that sort of work.
Yeah, you got to, I mean, especially with something like this, you have to have a passion for it if you're going to do it. And that certainly goes a long way and helps you on the grind of some of those days and everything. Mike, I feel like we could spend the rest of the show talking about a lot of those different things. But I also understand that, as you mentioned before, some of that stuff was things that you would normally not be able to get to in a normal year.
Right.
So out of those things are there some of those that have been sitting there like I want to get to this, for years that you've been wanting to do?
Well, certainly, the trails were set up by an Eagle Scout project, and it was laid out, but we had to widen it and bark it. We got a nice arrangement with the city of Nakusa. They bring all their bark over that when they shred trees up on the curbside or that sort of thing. And so we get loads all the time year-round from them. And so thanks to the city of Nakusa for that. And we make good use of it because we put about 4 to 5 inches thick on our trails. And we have to do that yearly because it kind of grows up and it keeps the undergrowth down and that sort of thing. So it was a marvelous time. I think I can't speak for Larry, but I know he enjoys it. He was there almost all the time. Otherwise, he would have stayed home, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Larry, was there anything that you enjoyed working on more than anything else, or things that stood out to you?
I enjoyed most of it. It gets me out of my recliner and stuff. So it gets you out there and you feel like you're accomplishing something rather than just doing some exercise or something. So
it's
you
a good way to
get
put
something
that.
accomplished.
Yeah.
What amazes me is that our group that we have out there is a complete volunteer group. We have no paid staff or anything, and I've been to a lot of historic sites that have had a lot more deferred maintenance than we have out there, and so I'm real pleased with that out there.
Because I'm with you. I've been to some myself, and you wouldn't be able to tell going there that you guys don't have the same kind of budget and that kind of thing. You guys do such a nice job of keeping that up and running and beautiful, and not only good for our community and all those sorts of things, but you make a good point there, Larry, that for yourselves too, that this is so much, you get so much from this and what it does for you too. I focus so much about the work that you do for the community, and I don't think often enough about you guys. And you should be enjoying yourselves too. You deserve to. Especially at your ages, gentlemen, you deserve to be enjoying yourselves.
Well, this is the way we do enjoy ourselves,
No,
actually.
there you go.
So
that works.
if we don't have school kids there, like last year, of course, because of the school situation, we had no school kids. Normally, we have 25 groups, which means 25 different days during the year that we have those groups split between spring and fall. And so it was a nice respite from that, yes, but we kind of missed the kids in the schools, but this gave us something else to do and to build upon. And we've expanded now since the first year, trails to the north, land we got from Domtar. We got 12.9 acres to the north of us across Wakely Road from Domtar late last year. And now we've expanded trails there. And just 2 weeks ago, we were working on new trails, extension of trails that we have now. So I would think by the end of a year or so, we'll probably have at least 5 miles of trails out there.
For the people listening out there, if you are retired, because we do work on Monday mornings, so it's difficult for people that are working for a living to come down and help out and stuff. But for retired people out there that want a little pastime or want to help out a little bit, we're more than happy to accept any help out there. We're out there pretty much every Monday. But you don't have to be out there every Monday. You can kind of come as you feel like it, and we've always got tasks to be accomplished. Yeah. Some of them require more skill than the others. I'm skillless, so I'm
You're skillless, but very skillful.
well, right.
Yeah, you're also the comedic talent, man. You're definitely the comedic talent. We all need that. But I imagine many other things too. I appreciate you bringing that up, Lair, because not only do we have such a great community when it comes to people that have multiple skill sets and everything, but we have a whole bunch of people out there that are just itching for something to do, something that they don't want to just go out there and just do something. They want to go out there, do something that adds to their community, that puts into their community.
They want to accomplish something that is significant, that makes a difference.
That's the way to put that. Well said.
And I think that, normally work on Mondays, but when we were doing roofing, we were working 2-3 days a week just to get that roof on the cabin done. But we can work anytime. I mean, we'll accommodate. If we got 5 people that come out and said we can't meet on Monday mornings, well, we'll meet on Tuesday mornings. I don't care what day we meet on.
Right.
It's just what it is, sort of thing. So we certainly, like Larry has mentioned, look forward to more volunteers. It'd be nice to get a few younger volunteers. Our average age in our work crew is probably about 72, 73, something like that. We got a couple younger ones, and when I mean younger is they just retired in the last 5 years. So.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely. That's a good point, Mike. Though we could use some younger people to do get in on this, not only to give a hand, certainly, but we're the ones that have to take over for you guys eventually, and we should know how the job is. This is something that 20 years from now, if I'm fortunate enough to be in this chair, I hope to be talking to somebody who is, taking over for you to continue this legacy, to continue this history, to continue with the work that goes on over there. I feel it's important. I feel like history is important, and certainly the things that go on over there. I can talk about the importance of it and everything. It's also really just fun. It's also a great, events and different things.
Yeah. When we started, 35 years ago, we were fortunate that myself, Tom Bramer, Kenny Ron, and 3 or 4 other individuals were business people that could get away a little bit of the time from their business. So for us, it was a kind of a night and day difference from work, and we could relax and get rid of the stress of the working day. But that's kind of how it started, and then it evolved into where more and more people came on board. But if it wouldn't have been, I think, for those people that were independent enough that they could do that during regular hours, it would have been much harder.
When we before we wrap up today, we'll give this information again. But just before we go to commercial break, if somebody out there is listening and they would like to help out or volunteer or anything, how can they do that? How can they reach you?
You can reach me at 715-421-2061. Or go to our website, www.historicpointbasse.com, and you can check on there or just leave a message or whatever you'd like, and we certainly would get that. So
on our website, there's a phone number also for contacting.
Yeah, and we'll definitely give that information again before we wrap up. But I just wanted to throw it out there just in case. Again, we have Mike Hittner and Larry Knutson from Historic Point Basse joining us. We have our friends from Wisconsin Rapids Community Media and as well. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we come back. We'll have more with the gentleman here on AM 1320 WFHR's Morning Magazine. It is 8 in Stevens Point, Marshfield, and Wausau, 9 in Wisconsin Rapids, where you have Morning Magazine. Your host, James, here, and we're joined by Mike Hittner, Larry Knutson, and our friends from Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. Gentlemen, when I give those temperatures, I feel like I'm giving baseball scores. I really don't feel like those are temperatures, really, but we appreciate both of you guys being with us today. Mike, where did you want to go next? I know that we were talking a little bit about things that we're kind of still reviewing last year a little bit, while also taking a look ahead to next year.
Right. In 2021, we were going to be doing ice cutting pretty soon. That would have been 31st of January with the Port Edwards Lions. Port Edwards Lions called off their fishery. And so we just decided that probably since they don't have the fishery and wouldn't have the people there to maybe help us or do some of that, that we would call that off also. Now, we're not going to have any ice, so that's going to be a little different for us. First time in probably 20 years we don't have any ice that we made. We'll probably have to get some ice for our summer events, but that's doable, that sort of thing. And then the Winter Feast, which was scheduled for February 13th in the Nakusa Community Center, has been called off because you sit around tables and there's no way to space people.
Yeah.
If we space people the way we should, and that's the only way we would do it, we don't have enough people there to break even, and we have to have a certain amount of people to break even because the hall costs, the food and entertainment and everything else. So we just had to cancel that because there was no safe way. In fact, that was one of the last things last year, just before COVID came upon us, that we got in full bore. You know, there was nothing held back on that sort of thing. The next thing is on March 27th, we're looking for Sugar Bush at Historic Point Basse. That's from 10 to 4. Tentatively, we set that we're going to probably do it, but we're going to review that the first part of March at our citizens meeting. We'll take a look at the numbers and who's available. We have to have about 8 or 10 people to run our production out there with the citizens in different buildings and different spots. And so we have to make sure those people are available and what kind of I don't want to call it a production, but what kind of show can we put on for people? Yeah. We got to put on something decent, as Larry would always say to me, you know, unless you're going to do it right, don't do it at all, sort of thing. And so we got to make sure we got enough people. So that one tentatively it's mostly outside, so I think that will probably go. I think Larry and I are really looking forward to it, and a number of people we had at the citizens meeting really want something to do. They want to get back into the character and that sort of thing. And the next event after that is our Pioneer Festival, which would be the 12th and 13th of June. And tentatively that should go. And I'm hoping by then some of the vaccinations are out there, though, as we all know from reading about it in the paper and listening on the radio or TV, that's way behind where it should be, and I'm hoping that it's ramped up in the near future.
Yeah, here's hoping. Everybody knock on wood together on that one, because here's hoping, and especially for things like this and all these things that we've come to look forward to and enjoy, but also have a impact on our community. Yeah. We've spent a lot of time talking about the economic impact that these events we miss by missing them, and that's certainly important, and we all understand we got to keep the lights on and everything. But what it means for people to be able to go to these events, for yourselves and how much you enjoy putting them on, the citizens that get to go to them and how much we look forward to them, and the kids, that how much they learn from these things, and how this is one of our jobs as adults is passing on history, is being able to do that, and you guys do it better than most.
And that's what I feel a little bad about, James. Last year we missed all the schools.
Yeah.
And some of those kids only come in second grade, so they're in third grade. They'll probably never come out there.
Yeah.
You know, and that tradition is great because you hear back when they come with their grandparents or their parents later in the year to an event. Oh, Mom, I know how this works and how that does, and this guy does this, and you think that they never learned a thing, but osmosis or something's working out there. So.
That's really funny you bring that up. One of the first times we talked, afterwards, I was talking to an old friend of mine, and he told me, hey, I heard the interview earlier. I remember going there for a field trip. So, I mean, yeah, it does stick with kids. It definitely does. And it brings a pride in your area. It brings something that you just can't get out of a school book. Well, not always, at least.
And I always tell everybody, history isn't always in Philadelphia and Washington and New York City, and that history is here too, because there was a beginning here. Certainly, we got to keep in touch with the Native Americans, which were here probably thousands of years before the white settlers. But that's for them to interpret, because we can't interpret for them. But we can interpret the early settlers in this area, and that's what we try to do.
And we're not able to have those big celebrated moments we celebrate in this country in Philly or New York or anything like that without the work that gets done by those citizens in this area, in all these areas like ours and around our country and everything. We're all connected. We're all tied together. And the only way anything gets done is when we will finally see that and see more of that. We're much more together than we are divided. Way more. I know that it may seem like that to the media, the way that a lot of things get portrayed. If you actually talk to your fellow Americans, you will find that you are actually got a lot more in common with somebody in South Chicago than you ever realized. Right. We're a lot more, and so much of that you learn from history. If you look at that and read into those sorts of things, that's another part of the reason why it's so important. I feel the work you guys do, you bring history to life. It isn't just something you read; you're seeing it.
Larry's got a great thing that he just picked up recently. Larry, why don't you talk to him a little bit about the toothbrush in the bunkhouse?
Oh, well, actually, I picked it up from the interview that you and Bonnie did, and I portray a Norwegian immigrant in the bunkhouse out there, and I have tremendous amount of fun doing that. And so I keep trying to add to my persona a little bit, tidbits here and there. And one thing I picked up was the interview that you and Bonnie did was toothbrushes back then. Not everybody could afford a toothbrush if you could even get your hands on it. So typically a toothbrush, such as in the bunkhouse, and I do have one that I intend in putting out there to talk about, is you shared the toothbrush. It probably hung by the water bucket so that in the morning you'd get up and brush your teeth, and then you'd hang it back up on the bucket. And of course, toothpaste back then, it was around, but it was really not very prevalent, especially in areas like this. So a lot of times they would take that toothbrush and they would dip it in ashes. And actually, it's a very good thing to shine your teeth and things like that. So, but they would share that toothbrush, and the toothbrushes were made out of bone and hog bristles. So, very durable, but not many people had one.
That gives you an idea, James, and listeners, that even when we're not in session or doing something all the time, we're always looking for ideas. Like Larry picked this up, and that he just added it to his repertoire that he's gonna show, especially with the school children, about the toothbrush. And you know how personalized toothbrushes is. Sometimes we don't even want to share them within a family. Here's one that's just hanging on the water bucket.
Right.
A real go-to sign for me that I actually like the person I'm dating or whatever is if I don't mind them using my toothbrush. That's such a good point, Mike. And thank you for sharing that, Larry. That's a cool story. I eat that stuff alive. I love hearing those kind of stories. And it reminds me, too, of something that came up earlier in our conversation when I mentioned to Kev there about you guys, it being inspiring, hearing about the work that you guys have done during the downtime here is the nicest way if I could put that. Because that's something that we all can learn from. We can all take some inspiration from. It's easy to, we're dealing with a pandemic. Oh, woe was me, and the world is tough. It's et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to pull the covers over my head. That ain't what you guys do. That is not how you guys look at the world.
Also, I think I want to point out that it's not all maintenance that we do out there. We have great expectations for the future of Point Basse out there. We have some anticipated major improvements out there, building more to the site and things like that, to be determined in the future, depending on finances and help and things like that.
Again, great point to bring up, Larry. Thank you for that. And Mike, I know you were kind of talking some about that, about things that you're looking forward to in 2021. Hopefully, knocking on wood, all that. Have you kind of touched on all those? Were there any that you want to mention?
Expansion of the trails. We've got a area where we used to have a tent, 20 by 40 tent that would be used for different events and for school groups to be under in case of inclement weather. We hope to build a shelter now out of that wood that we cut last winter. And other than shingles, we got half the shingles, but we got to get some more shingles and some 6x6s. And we'd prefer to put a concrete base under it. Other than that, that's the sort of thing. We've got most everything we need. So we've got our feelers out there to some nonprofit funds in the area to see if there's some funding that we could get to help us finish that project. So.
We're wrapping up the show here in the last minute or two. Is there anything that you want to touch on, either one of you, that we didn't get a chance to?
No, I think we did a nice job, James, and thank you for your direction there and that sort of thing. But I think we just wanted to let everybody know, hey, we're live, we're working every week, and things are getting accomplished, even if we don't necessarily see it. You have to drive down on the end of Wakely Road and look around a little bit, and then you might see some of that. But it's a little bit out of the way, and most people, unless they're down that direction, aren't driving around probably.
For our future events, please watch our website. We will have on there if any event is going to be canceled or anything like that. So
any of the latest information would be on the website. So sometimes we certainly like to come and talk to you, James, and broadcast about an event, but sometimes that isn't possible or was canceled at the last minute. So check the website.
And that website is historicpointbasse.com. That's historicpointbasse.com. The phone number that we were talking about earlier, if you'd like to contact these gentlemen and help out in any way or find out more information, 715-459-1722. That is 459-1722. And you can also email them, info@historicpointbasse.com. And be sure to follow their Facebook page, another great way to keep up on information there. And really, one of the things, not everybody can pick up a hammer, not everybody can maybe be there with you guys, but you can spread the word. Everybody can do that. That costs nothing. And reminding your neighbors and citizens and anybody that may not know about some of the fun and great work being going on over there, spread the word. Let people know about it.
And there's even work that somebody could do at home, like mailing things and stuffing things and that sort of thing. So it doesn't have to be always at the site or with a hammer or something. There's all kinds of things we need, seamstresses and all these sort of things. So.
That's a good point. And we look forward to anything coming up, you guys letting us know so we can let everybody else know. We appreciate that relationship very, very much. And
Thank you.
Thank you all so much about the work that you're doing. Cannot thank you guys enough. You stay safe and strong out there. We appreciate you. And thanks a lot for being in today.
Yeah, and thanks WFHR and Public Access.
I appreciate you. And Kev and everybody over at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media, we appreciate you guys very much. Keep up the great work. We will have more Money Magazine for you tomorrow right here on AM 1320 WFHR.